Our next contest is a singles bout scheduled for one fall. This is the final encounter between these two wrestlers in Premier. And as an added stipulation, both competitors represent one of the teams in next month's Premier Tag Team Championship matchup. The winner of this bout will determine which team gets to choose the stipulation next month when the Premier Tag Team Championships are on the line.
Well, you heard Mike Z lay out the stipulations and parameters of a matchup that is many months in the making, and certainly one of the final battles of the turf war that has permeated Premier for a number of months now.
Well, no doubt we've seen two factions go at one another repeatedly. There's been a lot of bloodshed, there's been a lot of sweat, there's been a lot of tears. We've seen some people disappear, obviously in that meaning Otis Cogar. But at least with these two parts of those factions, this is where this can come to a head, being Remy LaVey and Tony Johnson.
Introducing first, representing the Russo's Court, he is fighting tonight on behalf of the Premier Tag Team Champions, the main event. Coming from St. Louis, Missouri, begin at 195 pounds.
He's been referred to as a hired gun. He's been called the main event's mercenary. He was also the man behind the camera. He was filming the parking lot ambush a number of months ago when the main event, Chris LaRusso, laid out Remy LaVey 3-on-1. Remy had some lingering neck and back injuries for a number of weeks after that. The main event attempted to take out the culmination one by one. They nearly accomplished that. Tony Johnson, a major instrumental part of it, and Remy LaVey looking for retribution and looking to fight for his newfound friends, Crumbles and Lafarge, who really has built up a mutual respect with the culmination over the past few months. But Tony Johnson, underrated athlete, it was now under the ring.
He's employing strategy, apparently.
We'll see what kind of strategy it takes to stop the momentum the culmination's been on. Talking about the fact that Remy LaVey had a difficult road back. He refused to take time off, did Remy, battling the likes of Ron Mathis, the rest of LaRusso's court, while being well under 100%. The main event, LaRusso, Tony Johnson, tried to end Remy's career in a parking lot on a late Saturday night one time.
Well, sometimes you got to send a message. We've talked about that a lot, not only here tonight, but in the past as well. Certainly, messages sent here, but you gotta wonder what.
Remy's looking for Tony Johnson, and I think Remy just realized Tony's nowhere to be found. There he is, and Remy was a step ahead of the main event mercenary, and this matchup begins very rapidly. We've seen Tony attempt to use brass knuckles. We've seen him attempt to use the numbers game, but main event not here tonight. Crumbles and Lafarge have been sequestered in their locker room. This is one-on-one for the last time, Remy LaVey and Tony Johnson.
And what you're going to see here is a battle of business against emotion. For Tony Johnson, it's all about business. The hired mercenary, you give him the cash, you tell him where to go, and that's what he does. For Remy LaVey, he's fighting for Atticus Cogar. He's fighting for the departed here from Premier Otis Cogar. He's fighting for Gory. He's fighting for Crumbles. He's fighting for Defarge. So it's an interesting matchup of styles and an interesting motivation between the two individuals.
And I'm seeing a heightened aggression out of Remy LaVey in this matchup. Certainly this is something Remy's had in mind for many, many months, and he's making a count. He knows that so many individuals counting on Remy from the culmination. Crumbles, Defarge, certainly these fans who have helped the culmination claim their turf here in Turner's Hall. Remy knows it's his only opportunity at Tony Johnson, and he's going to make Tony feel every bit of that pain that Remy's been feeling.
You know, every punch, every kick, it's going to be reminded of what Remy went through when he was in that parking lot. And you touched upon it earlier, unsure if his career was even going to continue at that point.
Remy, neck breaker, drops Tony across the knee. And Tony, Tony reaching for that jacket. Keep in mind their first meeting. Back earlier this year, Tony had some nuts hidden in that jacket. That's something to keep an eye on. Remy LaVey not letting Tony get far out of his eye line after how Tony tried to, again, sucker Remy from behind, much as he did in the parking lot.
You got to know the main event's going to have, obviously, Duke Davis, Gannon Jones Jr. have a vested interest in this. I wonder if Chris LaRusso has an eye or an ear to this as well.
But Remy looking to finish this thing early. A backpack stunner. We've seen Remy pick up some victories with, but Tony Johnson all over the hair. Well, LaRusso challenging Gory for the Premier Championship later tonight. You got to believe he's got one eye on this contest as well, though. What do you think the main event or Crumbles and Defarge would choose as a stipulation? Remy hits the post. Look out.
Well, if we see a little bit more of that, Crumbles and Defarge won't have to worry about picking a stipulation. You know, I think it's dangerous. The main event gets a stipulation. They've already got the size advantage, the power advantage. They are the champions. I mean, they can really stack the deck and put it really behind Crumbles and Defarge. So it's very important that Tony Johnson is at stake right now. As far as Crumbles and Defarge go in their stipulation that they may choose to pick, it's almost inconceivable, using that word correctly, by the way, because we've seen what they've been willing to do. We saw what they did with the very people that they side with now with the culmination in the Cobras. We know what great lengths they were willing to go.
Lateral press for 2. You see how violently Remy's body hit the canvas as Tony Johnson wrenched Remy down by the arm and shoulder as Johnson looking to systematically dissect Remy LaVey, just pull apart a particular piece of the human anatomy of Remy LaVey.
And I mentioned earlier about a business against emotion. You have to wonder who that favors.
Oh, what a drop kick!
Certainly the drop kick favoring Tony Johnson.
Into the cover for 2. Johnson is an athlete that maybe doesn't get a lot of headlines on his own, but athletically speaking, bell to bell, he can hang with anybody.
There's no doubt about that. He's going to be a guy that's going to get it done in there. And as a man that I would say aligning himself with the main event and LaRusso's court has done wonders for him. I mean, you and I have seen him before. It's almost a different form of a Tony Johnson that we're seeing right now. A man that's not going to worry about anything else but his goal at hand, and that's what he's taking to Remy right now. I personally love a man that is willing to take money to attack somebody. It's a very effective proposition, a very effective man to have in your back pocket.
Only knowing you, probably not much money, huh?
Well, it depends. There's tiers, and there's a 4% raise depending on the good job you do.
Remy trying to fight his way through the pain as he's done for quite a number of months now.
And we both know Remy's still suffering effects from the injuries that he's suffered in this entire war.
And Johnson drops down on the right arm this time with that takedown. And Johnson has weakened the left. He's focusing on the right. Johnson is doing a significant amount of damage here. You take out all of Remy LaVey's limbs, he won't be able to defend himself.
That's also something that I enjoy. A man that cannot defend himself. You know how easy it is to beat a man that can't really do anything?
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
No, really, you should try it. I encourage it.
Remy LaVey in a bad way at this point as Johnson continues to wrench the arm and shoulder. And there's a cover. You heard Tony Johnson say something about out of the socket. Certainly his goal is very plainly seen here. Johnson may be looking to take Remy LaVey out and again weaken the numbers on the other side of the fence.
You just saw Remy there trying to rotate that shoulder, trying to move it around to see if he can. You're almost checking, doing a self-diagnosis to see if, do I have a shoulder injury? Do I think my shoulder's out of the socket? Do I think I've torn a rotator cuff? Where exactly is my injury right now? Because with the way Tony Johnson is putting his attention on those arms, it's almost going to throw Remy LaVey not only off his game, but trying to figure out exactly what the specific injury is. I don't think Remy LaVey has a doctorate or a PhD of himself.
Great reaction for Remy, who gets to his feet, hits the jawbreaker. This crowd has gravitated to Remy LaVey so much in recent months.
Oh, wait a minute. We focus on Tony Johnson.
Johnson was waving out reinforcements, 2 count only. I think maybe Johnson was trying to distract Remy LaVey into thinking the main event was here, and I think it worked. Johnson nearly took the victory.
Not only a mercenary, but a smart one at that. I don't know if that's a smart maneuver. Just as I spoke, you don't want to anger this Remy LaVey.
Yeah, Remy fell for that once, but I'm not sure he will again, and I'm not sure where Ron Mathis is. I have not seen the main event. Chris LaRusso preparing for the matchup later tonight for the Premier Championship, so this is going to be one-on-one, no matter how you're going to slice it, and Johnson able to cut Remy off at the pass.
I would say just because you haven't seen Ron Mathis doesn't mean he's not hiding in some dark corner of a building somewhere.
That's very true. Remy LaVey catches the foot of Johnson. Slick blade connects. Could Remy LaVey do this for himself, for his brothers, for Crumbles and Defarge, for everybody?
So that bit of separation is exactly what Remy LaVey needed. Not enough in him to go over for an immediate pin, but just enough to try and recover and get himself together.
Oh, wait, Johnson going for that jacket. He had Nux in there last time. This is the same official in that previous match. He remembers it well, and the referee not going to let that happen. And Johnson doesn't want a piece of Remy LaVey at this point. Al Johnson went downstairs. Johnson trying to get intentionally disqualified. Remy, desperation in that clothesline. Just took Johnson's head off. What impact.
You got to give it to Remy LaVey. Had Tony Johnson scouted right there, knew what he was going for. We see again trying to get that shoulder. We're going to see right here how much he has left.
Does he have enough? Backpack stunner if he can hit it. Remy got it. Will that be enough? Remy LaVey gets the victory.
Your winner of the match, Remy LaVey!
Mind Eraser nearly got the Nux in the face. Thankfully, that was thwarted. Johnson went desperation for the low blow, and Remy thwarted that and was able to end this on his terms. The final meeting between Remy LaVey and Tony Johnson leads to a Remy LaVey victory and leads to Crumbles and Defarge having the power heading into the tag team title match in a month's time.
Well, just about any match you put the main event in, especially when they're the title holders going in, you have to bet the farm, put the money on them, do whatever you want to do to say that that's who you would pick to win that matchup. But Crumbles and Defarge now have an equalizer, and that's their ability to pick the stipulation. It's going to be very interesting. At least this battle between Remy and Tony Johnson goes to Remy, and you'll have to check this one off in the box of the culmination as well.
Remy holding up that culmination armband high, a big victory in the ongoing turf war, and Remy LaVey brings a major stipulation into the hands of Crumbles and Defarge. We'll find out what that stipulation is in due time, but it's Remy LaVey avenging the parking lot ambush here tonight at Doomsday.